One of the primary causes of plantar fasciitis is having weak foot and arch muscles. The small muscles of your arch are called the intrinsic muscles of the feet. I like to call it your foot core. It turns out that most everybody has a weak foot core, and it's almost entirely due to wearing improper footwear that narrows or tapers at the toe. In fact, 90% of shoes have a narrow toe box, and it compresses and restricts your toes and does not allow your feet to function normally. This sets you up for plantar fasciitis. There are other factors that weaken your feet, and in this video, I will share with you the 3 primary causes of foot core weakness. Also, later in this video, I will share with you the 3 exercises you must do to strengthen your feet and fix your plantar fasciitis. So, stick with me till the end. I'm Dr. Angela, and I'm the Plantar Fasciitis Doc, and I'm all about helping you resolve plantar fasciitis at home. Now, let's get to it. These are the 3 main causes of foot core weakness. Number 1, as I mentioned earlier, is wearing footwear that narrows at the toe. And I'm not just referring to women's high heels. I'm talking about men's shoes, casual shoes, and even running shoes. When we cram our feet and toes into narrow shoes, our normal toe splay is hindered, and our feet and toes cannot spread out as we walk and run. Our feet are unable to function normally. The intrinsic muscles of the foot will basically shut down, and your feet will lose their ability to absorb shock. Many of you have even noticed that your foot and toes are starting to appear compressed, and your big toe is starting to shift inward. Our feet begin to deform and conform into the shape of those narrow toe shoes. When this happens, it pinches one of the primary arteries that goes to our feet and cuts off crucial blood supply. When your feet are not receiving enough blood supply, the tissues begin to degenerate and weaken, and this is one of the primary causes of plantar fasciitis. Most conventional footwear is not designed to support the natural shape of our feet and allow for normal toe splay. It's baffling to me why most shoe manufacturers do not consider what truly makes a healthy shoe. A few examples of functional footwear that is widest at the toe and will allow your feet to function normally are Ultras, Zero shoes, Flux footwear, and Vivo barefoot. And I will link those in the description. I go into greater detail regarding the best and worst shoes for plantar fasciitis in my free guide. So be sure you download that, because I also show you the exact steps to resolve plantar fasciitis at home. Want to know how to test and see if your shoes are wide enough at the toe? Take the insole out of a pair of your shoes, some that you wear often. Place it on the floor and stand on it. If any part of your foot extends over that insert, your feet and toes will be unable to function normally, and those shoes are contributing to your plantar fasciitis. The second cause of a weak foot core is wearing foot orthotics. Hearing this may confuse you. This is often one of the first things people are told to do to correct their plantar fasciitis. However, foot orthotics are one of the biggest roadblocks in healing plantar fasciitis. Orthotics weaken your feet over time. Let me explain. Our feet are inherently strong and do not need this type of support long term. A practitioner would never put a cast on a broken arm and recommend that you wear it for the rest of your life. Once the tissues and the bone have healed, you remove the cast and begin to strengthen those muscles that have been immobilized with bracing. However, with a foot orthotic, there is a neglect to implement an expiration date. Using an external device like an orthotic is a temporary solution and doesn't address the underlying cause. This also applies to shoes that have built-in arch supports or anti-pronation technology. Shoes that have motion control and corrective technologies will actually weaken your foot and can lead to the exact thing that you're trying to correct. Our feet become lazy and dependent on these external devices. The newest wave of understanding is the importance of foot strength and the connection between the foot and the rest of the body, and implementing strengthening and mobility protocols. Until you correct the deficiency and weakness in your feet, you will continue to have reoccurring pain. So, transition out of those orthotics and give up those Birkenstocks. The third cause of weakness in your feet is not walking barefoot. Now, this is another common myth. I know most of you have been told to avoid barefoot walking if you have foot pain, but this is one of the healthiest things you can do for your feet, and it naturally strengthens your foot core. Many studies have shown that barefoot cultures have little to no foot problems and has significantly straighter and more aligned toes. It takes time to train your feet to enjoy barefoot walking. You'll need to slowly begin to introduce your feet to this new concept. Try to make a conscious effort to take your shoes off when you're sitting at your desk or just walking around the house. Because your feet can be tender, weak, and accustomed to heavy cushioning and orthotics, you will need to start slowly with only a few minutes a day. I recommend starting with going barefoot for 10 minutes each day, then increase time each week. Also, another way to strengthen your feet is to wear toe spacers. Toe spacers help to stretch and realign your toes from the damaging effects of narrow toe shoes. They also help to broaden the base of your feet, which allows you to use your foot core more optimally and increases that much needed circulation and blood flow back to your feet. As I mentioned earlier, I want to show you the 3 best exercises to strengthen your foot core. Number 1 is short foot exercises. Number 2 is towel grabs. And number 3 is toe spreading. The first exercise is short foot exercises. The goal of the short foot exercise is to shorten the foot by contracting the intrinsic muscles to raise the arch. First, make sure you're barefoot and you stand on both feet. Evenly distribute your body weight over both feet. Then, spread your toes as far as you can. Make sure all your toes are in touch with the ground. Without scrunching your toes, try to shorten your foot by bringing the ball of your foot towards your heel, doming the arches in your feet, while pressing your toes into the ground. If performed correctly, you should be able to feel the strong contraction of the muscles underneath your feet. If it feels like it's going to cramp, that's a good sign. That means that you're recruiting the right muscles and doing the exercise correctly. If you do begin to cramp, pause for a moment and then resume. You can focus on one foot at a time or do both at once. Contract your arch, shorten your foot core, and hold the contraction for 2 seconds. And repeat this 10 times. Perform the short foot exercise 1 time per day. As your feet get stronger, perform them twice per day. The second exercise is the towel grab. With your toes on a towel, flex and scrunch your toes, pulling the towel towards you. Be sure you keep your heel on the ground. Squeeze and hold the contraction for 2 seconds for 10 repetitions. This can also be adapted to picking up golf balls, marbles, or another object that causes your toes to flex and your arch muscles to contract. Perform the towel grab exercise 1 time per day and work up to twice per day as your feet get stronger. The third exercise is toe spreading. Toe spreading involves spreading your toes away from each other as far as you can. Spread your toes and hold the position for 5 seconds and repeat 10 times. It may seem difficult at first. You may also notice that one foot is easier to spread. This is an indication of more weakness in one foot. Continue to practice each day and you will notice a greater range of motion each week. These aren't hard, it just takes more practice for some. This is one of my favorite exercises to practice throughout the day. I hope this video has been helpful. If you learned something today and you want to hear more, be sure you watch my next video on more strategies to fix your plantar fasciitis. Also, don't forget to download my free guide where I show you the exact steps to resolve your PF.